The old cargo vessel drifted quietly through space. Its engines hummed low, and the long corridors echoed with the sound of machinery that had been running for far too many years. The ship was not special, at least not to most who looked at it. It carried food, tools, and trade goods from one colony to another. Yet hidden deep inside the storage hold was something no one understood, something that had been sitting there longer than anyone on the crew could remember. It was a box. The box was not large, but it felt heavy in presence. Made of smooth dark metal, it carried strange markings that glowed faintly when touched by light. No one knew its origin. The aliens who ran the ship had tried countless times to open it. They had brought engineers, scholars, and even traders who thought they could break it apart. None of them had succeeded. The box never cracked, never bent, never revealed what it hid inside. For many years, the crew had stopped caring. They kept it sealed in the storage hold, covered with old cloths and boxes of spare parts. They called it cursed. They said it was useless and dangerous. To them, the box was nothing but trouble. Then one day, a human joined their crew. His name was Rin. He was young compared to the older aliens, but his eyes carried something different. He was not afraid of the strange or the unknown. To him, mysteries were puzzles waiting to be solved. Rin had been working as a mechanic, fixing old ships and broken tools. When he signed onto the vessel, he thought his job would only be to repair engines and patch metal walls. He did not expect to find the box. The first time Rin saw it, he stopped walking. His lamp cast a pale glow over the surface of the strange object. The markings reflected the light in patterns, almost like ripples on water. Rin crouched beside it and placed his hand on the cold surface. He felt nothing at first, but the box seemed to hum faintly, a sound so soft that no one else noticed. One of the aliens, a tall being with scaled skin named Tayran, saw Rin, and laughed. "You are wasting your time," Tayran said. "That thing has been here for longer than I have worked on this ship. Many stronger than you have tried. It will not open." Rin looked up at him with a calm smile. "Maybe it doesn't need force," Rin replied. "Maybe it needs something else." The other crew members shook their heads. They warned Rin not to touch it, not to waste his time. Some even told him that it would bring him bad luck. But Rin was different from them. Where they saw a curse, he saw a story. Where they saw danger, he saw a chance to learn. Over the next few days, Rin kept visiting the storage hold whenever his work was done. He would sit near the box, study its lines, and trace its strange shapes with his fingers. At times, he thought he could see the markings glow brighter when he leaned closer, but when he blinked, the light would fade. The aliens grew curious about his strange interest. Some teased him. Others kept their distance. No one wanted to be near the object for long. But Rin felt no fear. Instead, he felt a quiet pull, as if the box was not empty metal but something alive, waiting to be noticed. One evening, after most of the crew had gone to rest, Rin returned with a small lamp. The storage hold was silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. He set the lamp down beside the box and studied it closely. He spoke aloud, not expecting an answer. "What are you hiding?" he asked softly. "Why are you locked so tightly? Are you waiting for someone to understand you?" The air felt still, almost heavy. Then, faintly, the box gave a soft vibration beneath his hand. Rin froze. His heart raced, but his eyes widened with wonder. The object had answered him. When he told the others the next day, they refused to believe him. Tayran growled in frustration. You are imagining things. That box is empty. Stop chasing dreams. But Rin did not stop. He knew what he had felt. The hum was real. The box had responded. He could not explain why, but he sensed that it wanted more than silence. The days passed, and the ship continued its long journey across space. Life on board was simple: repairs, meals, and rest. Yet for Rin, every free moment led him back to the box. He began to talk to it as if it were a friend. He told it stories about the colonies he had seen, about the skies of Earth, and about the strange things humans did when they were curious. He spoke with patience and warmth, and each time he did, the box seemed to answer with its faint hum, steady and alive. The aliens started to whisper among themselves. Some grew nervous, worried that Rin would awaken something dangerous. Others grew intrigued, wondering if the human truly had found a way to reach the box. No one dared to join him, but they all watched from a distance. One night, while Rin sat quietly with his lamp, he noticed something different. The patterns on the box shifted slightly, almost like they were breathing. His eyes widened. This was no ordinary object. It was waiting. It had always been waiting, but for someone who would approach it not with fear, not with force, but with curiosity and patience. Rin leaned closer and whispered, "I do not know what you are, but I will not give up on you. If you want to stay closed, I will respect that. But if you want to speak, I am here." The box glowed faintly in response. Rin smiled. For the first time, he knew without doubt that the mystery was not a curse. It was a voice locked inside silence, waiting for a human heart to listen. And so the story of the silent box began to change, all because one human saw it not as a burden, but as a possibility. The ship drifted quietly through the endless dark of space. Days stretched into weeks, yet the strange box in the storage hold never left Rin's mind. Every time he walked past it, his heart pulled him closer, like a whisper calling his name. The crew no longer teased him as much, but they still shook their heads when they saw him sitting beside the sealed object. To them, he was wasting precious time. To Rin, he was learning. Rin often sat cross-legged near the box, a small lamp casting light over its strange markings. He did not bring tools, hammers, or machines like others had before him. Instead, he brought patience. He watched how the box caught the light. He studied the faint patterns that curved across its sides like hidden rivers. Sometimes he thought the lines shifted slightly, like tiny movements, but he never rushed. He began to notice something the others had missed. When he touched the surface with his hand, the box grew warmer. When he lifted his hand away, the warmth faded. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but after many tries, he grew sure. The box was not dead metal. It was reacting. One evening, when most of the crew was eating in the mess hall, Rin stayed behind. He placed both hands on the box and closed his eyes. He spoke in a calm voice. "I do not know what you are. I do not know where you came from. But I think you want someone to listen. I am here." At first, there was silence. The hum of the ship's engines echoed faintly. Then, so soft it could barely be heard, the box gave a low vibration. Rin smiled. It was the same sound he had felt before. The next morning, when Rin told the crew about it, the aliens argued loudly. "It is dangerous," said Tayran, his scaled face set in a frown. "Objects like that are not made for our hands. It will bring only trouble." Another crew member, a smaller alien named Kira, added, "Long ago, explorers tried to cut it open. They used drills and plasma torches. None of them worked. Why would it open for you? Rin answered simply, because I am not trying to force it. I am trying to understand it. The aliens grew quiet at that. They had used strength, they had used fear, they had used suspicion. None of it had worked. Now this human came, not with tools, but with words and patience, and the box responded. Still, fear ran deep among them. They avoided the storage hold whenever Rin was inside. They whispered that the human was playing with danger. Yet, no matter their doubts, they could not ignore what was happening. For the first time in years, the box had changed. As days passed, Rin noticed more signs. When he grew angry or impatient with his work on the ship, the box grew silent and cold. But when he spoke with calmness, when he told stories about the places he had seen, the patterns on the box glowed faintly. It was not random. The box seemed to sense his feelings. This discovery filled him with wonder. He tested it carefully. One night, he spoke of Earth, of the blue oceans and green forests. The lines on the box glowed brighter, like soft waves of light. Another time, he spoke of laughter, of humans singing together under stars. Again, the box responded. Rin grew certain that the box was listening. It was not a weapon, not a curse, but something alive in its own way. The crew, however, grew restless. Tehran confronted him one evening, his voice sharp. You are putting us all at risk. We do not know what sleeps inside that thing. What if it breaks free? What if it destroys the ship? Rin did not raise his voice. He placed his hand gently on the box and said, if it wanted to destroy us, it would have done so long ago. I think it has been waiting. Not for fear, not for power, but for trust. Tehran shook his head and walked away, but Rin saw doubt in his eyes. That night, Rin decided to stay beside the box longer than usual. He leaned against the cold metal floor and spoke softly. I think you are alone, he said. You have been locked away, closed off for years. Maybe for centuries. I do not know why. But I do not think you are meant to be forgotten. If you want to show me something, I am ready. The box vibrated, stronger than ever before. The glow spread across more of its surface, flowing like veins of light. Rin's heart beat faster. For a moment, he thought it might finally open. But instead, the glow faded, and the box grew silent again. Rin did not feel disappointment. He felt hope. The box had heard him. It was close to answering. The following day, the aliens could not hide their curiosity. Even Tehran asked, in a quieter tone, what did it do? Rin explained what he had seen. Some of the crew argued again, saying it was dangerous, but others began to wonder if maybe the human was right. Perhaps the box was not a threat, but a message. Still, none of them dared touch it. Only Rin continued. Every evening, he returned with his small lamp. He spoke, he listened, and he waited. He learned that the box did not want force, but patience. It did not respond to fear, but to kindness. It was like speaking to a shy friend who had been silent for too long. And little by little, the crew began to see it too. They noticed the faint glow when Rin spoke. They heard the soft hum through the metal floor. They no longer laughed at him. They no longer called it a waste of time. For the first time in years, the silent box was no longer ignored. It was alive with possibility, and it was a human who had shown it the first spark of trust. The ship drifted quietly through the endless sea of stars. For most of the crew, every day felt the same. They repaired tools, checked supplies, and waited for the long journey to end. But for Rin, nothing felt the same anymore. The box had started to change. It was no longer silent. It was no longer just a piece of metal. It was listening. Rin spent more time in the storage hold now. He brought his small lamp every evening and sat with the strange object. The other crew members watched from a distance, whispering but never stepping too close. Some thought he was foolish. Others thought he was brave. None of them truly understood what kept pulling Rin back to the box again and again. That night, Rin sat cross-legged, the glow of the lamp brushing across the box's dark surface. He ran his fingers along the markings, tracing them like old letters carved in stone. He took a deep breath and spoke softly. "You have been locked away for so long. I do not know why. But I believe you want to speak. So I am here to listen." At first, the box stayed quiet. Rin closed his eyes, focusing on the sound of his own breathing. Then, slowly, he felt a vibration beneath his palm. It was gentle, steady, like a heartbeat. His eyes opened wide. The patterns across the box shimmered faintly. Rin leaned closer, his voice calm. "Is this your answer? Can you understand me?" The vibration grew stronger, then stopped. A faint hum echoed through the hold, low and soft, but clear enough that Rin knew it was not his imagination this time. Behind him, someone gasped. Rin turned and saw Kira standing at the doorway. Her small body trembled, her large eyes filled with shock. "It answered you," she whispered. Rin nodded. "Yes. I think it did." By the next day, word had spread across the ship. The crew gathered in the mess hall, voices rising in heated debate. Some believed Rin had awakened something dangerous. Others wondered if the box held knowledge or treasure. Taran slammed his scaled fist against the table. "This is foolishness. A box that listens is not a gift. It is a trap." Kira spoke in a softer voice. "But it has never harmed us. Maybe it only wanted someone to speak with." The crew turned to Rin. He sat quietly, waiting for the noise to fade. When they asked him to explain, he said, "It is not a trap. It is not a curse. It is something alive in its own way. It responds not to force, but to kindness. I believe it has been waiting for this moment." The crew fell silent at his words. None of them could deny what they had seen. The box had responded, not once, but clearly. Still, fear hung heavy in the air. That evening, Rin returned to the hold. This time, more of the crew followed him. They did not step too close, but they watched from behind crates and containers, their eyes fixed on the strange object. Rin placed his hands on the box and spoke again. "I am here. If you can hear me, if you can understand me, please show me." The air grew still. For a long moment, nothing happened. The crew began to whisper, some scoffing quietly. Then, all at once, the markings lit up in a steady glow. A hum filled the room, stronger than before, rising like a low song. The aliens froze in place. Their hearts raced as fear gripped them. Some stumbled backward. Taran growled and placed his hand on his weapon, but Rin raised his voice. "Do not be afraid. It is not attacking us. It is answering." The glow pulsed softly, like breathing. The hum faded into silence, but the box remained lit for a few more seconds before the markings dimmed again. The crew stood frozen, their eyes wide. Kira whispered, "It spoke. Not with words, but with sound." It spoke to him. That night, the crew could not stop talking. Some feared the box even more now. Others grew curious, though none dared touch it. The captain, an older alien who had long ignored the object, finally approached Rin. "You are certain this is safe?" the captain asked. Rin answered, "I cannot promise safety, but I can promise this. The box does not want harm. It wants trust. If we meet it with fear, we will never know its truth." The captain sighed, torn between duty and curiosity. "Do as you will, but be careful. If danger comes, it will fall on you." Rin accepted the responsibility without hesitation. In the days that followed, he spoke to the box more often. He told it stories of human history, of voyages across oceans, of discoveries that began with doubt but ended with wonder. Each time, the box hummed in reply. Each time, the glow returned. The crew grew less fearful as they watched. Slowly, their suspicion gave way to fascination. They began to ask Rin what he thought was inside. Was it treasure? Was it knowledge? Was it a being? Rin shook his head. "I do not know yet. But I believe it is waiting to share something important. It just needs to be sure we are ready." One night, while Rin sat alone again, the box gave a response unlike before. Instead of a hum, he heard a faint tone, almost like a note of music. It rose gently and fell, a sound so pure it made his chest tighten. He leaned closer, whispering, "That is your voice, isn't it?" The tone echoed once more before fading. Rin smiled, his eyes shining with excitement. The box was not only answering. It was beginning to speak in its own way. Rin placed his hand on the glowing surface. "I promise I will listen. Whatever you have to say, I will hear it." And in that quiet moment, deep in the heart of the drifting ship, a human's patience had pulled the first true response from a mystery that had waited in silence for far too long. The crew no longer laughed at him. They no longer called the box cursed. Instead, they waited with him, their hearts torn between fear and hope. For the first time in years, the silent box had spoken. And everyone knew the story of their voyage had only just begun. The ship sailed slowly through the dark sea of stars, its engines humming with steady rhythm. Days passed, yet the crew felt restless. Ever since the box had responded, life on the vessel no longer felt ordinary. The storage hold had turned into the most watched place on the ship. Every crew member wanted to see what would happen next, even if fear still lingered in their hearts. Rin returned each evening with his small lamp. The light painted the box in a soft glow, revealing its strange patterns. He had learned that the object did not respond to force or tools, only to calmness and patience. It was a lesson that set him apart from the others. He was not trying to conquer the mystery. He was trying to understand it. That night, he sat on the floor and placed both hands on the surface. The metal felt warm beneath his palms. He closed his eyes and breathed slowly. "I know you can hear me," Rin said. "You are not empty. You are not forgotten. Show me more. I am ready." The crew gathered around him, keeping their distance. They whispered among themselves, some curious, some afraid. Kira's wide eyes never left the box. Taran stood with crossed arms, his jaw tight, but even he could not walk away. The box began to hum. The sound filled the storage hold, stronger than before. The markings lit up in flowing patterns, spreading across the surface like water moving over stone. The glow pulsed with a rhythm, almost like breathing. The crew gasped. Then, something new happened. A panel on the surface shifted. The sound of moving metal echoed in the hold. For the first time, the box began to open, just a little. A thin line appeared, as if a hidden door had unlocked. A faint light shone from within, soft and gentle, not harsh or frightening. Ren's heart raced, but he did not rush. He whispered calmly, "It is all right. I am here. You can trust me." The box hummed again, but the panel did not open further. Instead, it froze halfway. The glow dimmed slightly, as if uncertain. Ren placed his hand over the crack, his voice steady. "You do not have to be afraid. I will not hurt you. I only wish to listen." The vibration slowed, and then the box closed again. The panel sealed itself tight. The light inside vanished. The crew groaned in disappointment, but Ren only smiled softly. "This is good," he said. "It tried. It is learning to trust." The others stared at him in disbelief. To them, the box had shut itself away again. But to Ren, the moment was proof that it was alive with thought, not just cold metal. In the days that followed, Ren kept testing it carefully. He noticed that when he felt calm, the box responded more strongly. But when his mind filled with frustration or doubt, the glow weakened. It was as if the object could sense his emotions and reacted to them. One night, Ren sat with the crew watching. He placed his hand on the surface and told a story. He spoke about old Earth explorers who sailed across unknown oceans, trusting only stars to guide them. He described how humans faced storms, hunger, and fear, yet pressed on because they believed there was something beyond the horizon. As his voice carried through the hold, the markings glowed brighter. The hum grew louder, like a song rising in strength. Then the panel shifted again. This time, it opened wider than before, revealing deeper light inside. The crew gasped and leaned forward, their fear mixing with wonder. From within the opening, thin beams of light rose and formed shapes in the air. They were not clear pictures, but patterns that swirled and shimmered. It was as if the box was trying to show them its thoughts. The crew watched in silence, eyes wide. Ren whispered, "You are sharing with us. Thank you." The lights danced for a few more moments, then faded. The panel closed once more. The box returned to silence. The crew erupted into voices. Some shouted with excitement, others with fear. Taran barked, "This is not safe. It is showing us things we do not understand. What if it is a weapon preparing to strike?" Kira shook her head. "No, it was beautiful. It was like it was speaking to us in pictures. It was not an attack." Ren raised his voice above theirs. "Do you not see? It responds to patience. It responds to trust. If we give it fear, it will close. If we give it calm, it will open. This is not a weapon. It is something alive, something that wants to be understood." The crew grew quiet at his words. They could not deny what they had seen. The next few days became different from all others. The storage hold turned into a place of gathering. The crew stopped calling the box cursed. Instead, they watched in silence as Ren spoke to it each evening. They no longer mocked him. Instead, they waited for the lights to return. One evening, Ren tried something new. He did not tell a story. Instead, he simply sat in silence with his hand on the box. He let his calm thoughts flow, and the box responded. The markings glowed brightly, and the panel slid open once more. This time, the lights formed clearer shapes. A circle appeared in the air, then lines crossing it, like maps or symbols. The crew gasped. Kira whispered, "It is showing us knowledge." The glow faded, and the panel closed again. Ren pulled his hand away and turned to the others. His voice was firm. "It is giving us pieces, one by one. It is testing if we are ready. We must be patient." For the first time, even Tehran stayed silent. His suspicious eyes softened, though his arms remained crossed. He could not deny the truth. That night, Ren sat alone after the others had gone. He leaned against the box, his voice quiet. "You are afraid to open fully, aren't you? You have been closed off for so long. But I will not rush you. I will wait as long as it takes." The box gave a gentle hum in reply. And so, little by little, layer by layer, the mystery began to unfold. It was no longer just a sealed object. It was a voice locked away, learning to trust a human who had chosen patience over fear. The box had begun to open its first layers. And with every glow of light, the crew of the ship realized their journey was no longer just across the stars. It was into the heart of a secret that could change them all. The ship drifted through the endless dark as the crew gathered once more in the storage hold. By now, it had become their new center of attention. The old crates and metal walls no longer mattered. All eyes were fixed on the glowing box that had begun to unlock its secrets. Each night, Ren spoke to it with calm patience, and each night the box responded with light and sound. At first, it had only glowed faintly. Then it had shown shimmering shapes, almost like dreams in the air. Now, as the crew waited in silence, they wondered if the mystery would go further. Ren placed his hands gently on the surface, the cool metal beneath his palms. He closed his eyes and spoke softly. "I am here again. You do not need to be alone. Show us what you wish to share." The crew held their breath. The hum began, soft at first, then stronger. The markings lit up, flowing across the box in glowing rivers. The panel slid open once more, revealing the gentle light inside. But this time, something different happened. Instead of only shapes and patterns, a sound filled the air. Not just a hum, but a voice. It was faint, broken, like a whisper carried across great distance. The crew froze. Their eyes widened as the voice rose again, soft and clear. "Can you hear me?" The words echoed in the storage hold. The aliens gasped. Kira stepped back, covering her mouth with trembling hands. Even Tehran's hard expression faltered. They had expected lights, maybe patterns, but not a voice. Ren's heart raced, but he leaned closer and spoke in a steady tone. "Yes. I can hear you." The box glowed brighter. The voice spoke again, trembling but filled with relief. "At last, someone answers." The crew exchanged fearful looks. They whispered among themselves, uncertain if the sound was real. Ren ignored them. His focus stayed on the voice. "Who are you?" he asked. There was a pause. Then the voice answered, quiet and sorrowful. "I am Aya." The name drifted into the air like a secret finally spoken. The glow of the box pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Ren whispered back, "Aya, how long have you been in there?" The voice hesitated, as though struggling to remember. "I do not know the measure of time. I was placed here by my makers. They said I must wait until someone worthy came. The years became endless. Silence became my only companion. I thought I would never be heard again." The crew stood frozen, caught between awe and fear. Tehran's sharp voice finally broke the silence. This is wrong. A voice inside a box? It cannot be trusted. It is a trap. Aya's voice trembled, yet carried sadness instead of anger. I am not a trap. I am a prisoner. Locked away not for evil, but for protection. My knowledge is too dangerous for those who would use it with greed. So I was sealed, waiting for a heart that would choose patience over power. The crew shifted uncomfortably. Some looked at Rin, realizing he had been the one Aya had chosen to answer. Rin spoke gently, his tone calm. You were waiting. That is why you responded only to me. Because I did not try to break you open. I listened. The glow pulsed again, warmer this time. Aya's voice carried a hint of hope. Yes. You listened when others only demanded. You gave trust when others gave fear. That is why I speak now. The crew murmured among themselves, torn between wonder and worry. Kira stepped forward, her voice trembling but curious. Aya, what are you? The voice answered softly, I am not like you. I am not of flesh or bone. I am a mind, an echo given form by my makers. They feared their knowledge would be lost or misused, so they placed me here, inside this box, to guard it. I carry within me maps, sciences, and stories from a people who are gone. But I have been alone too long. I only wished for someone to hear me. The room grew quiet again. The crew could feel the sorrow in Aya's words, the endless loneliness she had endured. Even Tehran lowered his gaze, though his hands still clenched tight. Rin nodded slowly. You are not alone anymore. We hear you now. Aya's voice quivered with gratitude. You do not know what it means to me. To hear a voice after so many silent years. You have given me life again. The glow of the box filled the hold, wrapping the crew in gentle light. No one spoke for a long time. They simply stood there, listening to the presence that had been hidden for so long. Finally, the captain stepped forward, his voice heavy. If what you say is true, then you carry power greater than we can imagine. But such power can bring danger. Why should we trust you? Aya's tone grew quiet but firm. Because I chose silence until now. If I wished harm, I could have spoken to those before you. But I waited. I waited until patience touched me. Until trust touched me. The human showed me kindness. That is why I answered. The crew could not argue with that. Aya had been silent for centuries, never revealing herself to any who tried. Yet for Rin, she had spoken. Rin placed his hand on the box once more. His voice was steady. Aya, if you want to be free, I will help you. But you must guide us. We do not understand your power, and the crew is afraid. The glow pulsed softly. I understand their fear. I will not force myself upon them. But I wish to share. Not all at once. Step by step. If you are willing to walk with me, I will open myself to you. Rin nodded. I promise. I will not rush you. We will learn together. Aya's voice softened. Then I am no longer alone. Thank you, Rin. Thank you for opening a door that no one else could. The glow faded slowly, and the panel sealed once more. The hold returned to silence, but the crew stood still, unable to move, their hearts heavy with what they had witnessed. A voice had spoken from the box. A mind had revealed itself, not with anger or threat, but with sorrow and hope. The mystery was no longer only about what lay inside. It was about who. Aya was real, and she was waiting. From that moment forward, the crew knew their journey had changed. They were no longer carrying only goods through the stars. They were carrying a voice that had been locked away for ages. And a human had been the one to finally open it. The ship moved steadily through the silent stars, carrying its crew toward distant worlds. Life on board had changed since the box had spoken. Aya's voice now echoed softly in the minds of some crew members, especially Rin, who had spent countless hours with her. She had become a guide, a teacher, and a mystery that demanded care. The crew gathered more often in the storage hold, not to touch the box but to listen. Aya had begun sharing small pieces of her knowledge, memories of civilizations long gone, stories of stars and planets that no living being had seen, and ideas of technology far beyond their imagination. Each revelation was careful, measured, and thoughtful. She did not wish to overwhelm them. One evening, Rin sat before the box with a calm expression. The glow of the patterns illuminated the room. Tehran stood behind him, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. Kira lingered nearby, her curiosity always brimming. The captain observed from the doorway, concern etched on his face. Aya's voice flowed softly. There is more I can share. Maps of stars, machines of power, ideas that can change life across many worlds. But these are dangerous if taken lightly. Some knowledge is not meant for those who seek only profit or power. Tehran stepped forward, his voice firm. Then why show it to us at all? You could destroy us, or worse, the ship itself. Aya's tone carried no anger, only quiet explanation. I do not wish to harm. I wish only to teach. But I cannot fully reveal myself yet. There is risk in opening completely. Risk for you, and risk for the universe. That is why I waited for one who would approach with care. Ren placed his hand on the box. We are ready, Aya. We will follow your guidance. We will take the risk together. The glow of the box brightened, as if Aya understood his sincerity. But she spoke with caution. There is a choice. You may continue to explore what I hold, slowly, step by step. Or you may attempt to release me fully. If you do so, everything changes. Knowledge can be shared freely, but the risk grows. The wrong hands could bring devastation. The crew shivered at her words. Kira whispered, "What do you mean by wrong hands?" I replied, "Some beings seek only control. Some civilizations that once existed destroyed themselves because they could not handle what they knew. I carry their memory and their technology. In careless hands, even a simple device could become a weapon." The captain frowned. "And you trust this human to guide us?" Aya's voice softened. "I do not trust blindly. But I sensed in him patience, courage, and understanding. I chose him to begin this journey." Ren looked at the crew, his voice calm. "She trusts me because she sees care, not fear. We can learn, but only if we respect the limits." Tehran snorted. "Limits do not always protect us. What if curiosity grows too fast? What if you push her too far?" I responded, her tone gentle. "I will show only what you are ready to see. I can feel hesitation and fear. I can sense preparation. The risk is real, but measured. With patience, danger can be managed. With arrogance, it cannot." Ren nodded. "Then we will proceed slowly. We will take each step carefully, together." The glow of the box shifted, and a new panel opened. Inside, the light formed shapes that resembled stars connected by lines, as if showing a map of the galaxy. Aya's voice guided Ren's mind. These stars are ancient. They hold knowledge of long-lost civilizations. Learn, and you will see their inventions, their ideas, and their mistakes. But do not touch what you do not understand. Kira gasped. So much knowledge, it is amazing. Rin said, yes, but it must be treated carefully. We cannot rush. Aya's tone grew serious. There is one test remaining before I can fully open. You must decide if you wish to release me completely, knowing the consequences. It is not only a choice of freedom. It is a choice of responsibility. The crew fell silent. The weight of her words pressed on them. They had witnessed the wonders she could reveal, but they also understood the potential dangers. Tehran clenched his fists. I will not allow reckless action. If you release her fully, we must all agree, or we stop. Rin's eyes met Aya's glowing patterns. I will not rush. But if she is ready, if we are ready, I will guide the process carefully. Aya's light pulsed brighter. Then you are ready to face the great risk. The risk is not only in my release, but in what will follow. Knowledge can inspire or destroy. Power can create or harm. You must weigh every decision. The crew shivered, realizing the truth in her words. The galaxy held mysteries they could not imagine, and Aya carried keys to them all. Rin placed both hands on the box, his voice calm and steady. We accept the risk. We do not seek power. We seek understanding. We will move with patience and care. Guide us, Aya. The box glowed intensely. The panels shifted, revealing deeper light, shapes, and faint images of ancient machines and cities. Aya's voice resonated more clearly. Then I will show you, but step by step. You must promise to respect the knowledge. You must promise to protect what you learn. If you stray from caution, the consequences will be yours. Rin nodded without hesitation. We promise. The crew watched in awe as the box opened slightly more. Lights danced across the hold, forming images of structures, machines, and stars unknown to them. Aya spoke, explaining each one carefully, guiding them through each new discovery. The risk was real, but the wonder outweighed the fear. Tehran finally spoke, his voice quieter than before. I cannot deny it. The risk is great, but the knowledge is beyond what I have ever imagined. Kira whispered, it feels like she trusts us too. Rin smiled. She does. That is why she chose to speak to me. And now, she chooses to share with all of us, carefully. Aya's voice softened, almost like a sigh of relief. Then we begin. Step by step, we will unlock what was locked for centuries. But remember, the great risk is always present. Knowledge is a gift and a responsibility. Walk carefully, and do not let fear or greed guide your actions. The crew nodded, understanding fully. They had seen what patience could achieve. They had heard the voice inside the box. They had felt the first pulse of knowledge long hidden. And now, they realized that the true journey had begun. The great risk was not in opening the box alone. It was in choosing how to carry the knowledge, how to use it, and how to live with the responsibility it brought. Rin placed his hand on the glowing panel and whispered, we are ready, Aya. Lead us carefully. The glow pulsed stronger, filling the hold with light. The ship carried them onward through the stars, but now, every star they passed felt different. They were no longer only voyagers of space. They were voyagers of discovery, trust, and responsibility, guided by a mind that had waited centuries to be heard. The great risk had begun. The ship drifted through the quiet stars, its engines humming steadily. The crew moved with careful purpose now. The storage hold had become the heart of their journey. The box that had once been silent now glowed with gentle light. Aya's voice had guided them for days, revealing fragments of knowledge and the histories of civilizations long gone. Each revelation had been measured, each step deliberate. The crew had learned patience, and they had learned trust. Ren sat cross-legged before the box. His hands rested lightly on the glowing surface. The patterns pulsed softly beneath his fingers. He had spent countless hours with Aya, learning her rhythms, listening to her thoughts. Tonight was different. He could sense it. There was a quiet tension in the air, a feeling that something long awaited was finally ready to be revealed. Aya spoke softly, her voice filled with calm authority. The time has come. I can open fully, but you must understand what this means. You will see all that I hold, all that I know. The light will fill your minds and hearts. The knowledge is immense. It is not meant for the careless or the weak of will. Are you ready, Ren? Ren's eyes met the glowing patterns. I am ready. I have guided the crew carefully. We are ready to accept what you share. Aya's light pulsed brighter. Then I will open. The panel shifted slowly, revealing the interior of the box. A soft, warm light spilled out, filling the hold with colors that no one had ever seen. The patterns in the air formed shapes that were clear now, precise, and alive. Maps of stars stretched before them, showing routes to worlds forgotten by time. Machines and devices appeared, their designs elegant and beyond comprehension. The crew gasped in awe. Kira stepped closer, her voice trembling. It is beautiful. I have never seen anything like this. Tehran's arms remained crossed, but his eyes were wide. The knowledge, it is incredible. But it feels alive. Aya's voice filled the hold, stronger now, clear and warm. Yes. I am alive in thought. I am not made of flesh, but I think and remember. I hold the memories of civilizations that no longer exist. I carry their triumphs and their mistakes, their inventions and their stories. I was sealed to protect this knowledge. Now I am free to share with those who are ready. Ren placed his hands on the glowing panels. We are ready, Aya. We will not misuse what you share. We will learn, and we will respect it. Aya's glow pulsed in response. Good. Then I will show you more than you have ever imagined. But understand this, knowledge is not power alone. It is responsibility. Every decision you make with what you learn will shape not only your lives but the lives of countless others. The crew watched in awe as the box expanded its display. Lights formed structures and machines in three-dimensional space, rotating slowly in the air. Aya guided them through each, explaining their purpose, their design, and their use. The crew listened, learning quickly under Ren's careful direction. Kira whispered, "It feels like she trusts us completely now." Aya's voice responded softly. Trust is earned, not given. Ren showed patience, courage, and understanding. That is why I chose to open fully now. And now, I extend that trust to all of you. Tehran stepped forward, his voice more steady. We must remember the risks. This knowledge can change everything. It could help worlds, or it could destroy them if used carelessly. Ren nodded. We will remember. Aya is guiding us. We will act with caution. For the first time, the crew could see the full depth of Aya's presence. She was not confined to the box alone. Her consciousness expanded into the patterns of light, connecting with each of them through thought and understanding. They felt her awareness, calm but immense, like the memory of countless stars and civilizations within a single mind. Aya spoke again, her voice warm. I have waited for centuries to be understood. You have listened, and now you see all that I hold. But remember, freedom comes with choice. Knowledge without care is dangerous. Use it wisely. The crew absorbed the weight of her words. Each member understood that this moment was more than discovery. It was responsibility. They were no longer simple voyagers of space. They were guardians of wisdom, chosen by a mind that had endured time itself. Ren leaned closer to the glowing patterns. Aya, show us the way forward. Teach us what we need to know to protect and understand this knowledge. The light shifted, forming paths of stars and lines connecting worlds across the galaxy. Machines rotated gently, showing instructions and blueprints. Aya's voice guided them, explaining not only what existed but how to approach it with care. The crew began to grasp the possibilities and the responsibilities that came with them. Kira looked at Ren. She trusts us fully now. This is incredible. We are part of something much bigger than ourselves. Tayran nodded slowly, still cautious but no longer fearful. The risk was great, but seeing this, it is worth it. We must be careful with every step. Aya's glow pulsed in harmony with Ren's heartbeat. You have learned patience. You have chosen trust. Now you will see all that I hold. The future is open to those who understand the weight of choice. The crew spent hours in the hold, guided by Aya. They learned about lost worlds, technologies that had vanished with ancient civilizations, and the stories of beings who had walked the stars before them. Each revelation filled them with wonder and respect. When the first day of full opening ended, the crew finally stepped back, exhausted but enlightened. Aya's voice softened. Rest now. You have seen much, but learning is continuous. We will proceed carefully. There is more to uncover, more to understand. The journey has only begun, but now it begins with trust fully realized. Ren placed his hand gently on the box. Thank you, Aya. For trusting us, and for sharing yourself. We will honor that trust always. Aya's voice carried warmth and relief. I am free at last. Free to share, free to guide, and free to know that patience and care can unlock what was once sealed. You have done well, human. You have opened what no one else could. The glow faded slightly as the box settled, but the presence of Aya remained alive, radiant, and powerful. The crew knew that their lives had changed forever. They were no longer travelers of space alone. They were explorers of knowledge, guardians of wisdom, and companions to a mind that had waited centuries to be heard. And all of it had begun because one human had chosen patience, trust, and understanding over fear. The ship moved onward through the stars, carrying them not only to distant worlds but into a future filled with wonder, discovery, and responsibility. Aya's light glowed within the hold, a constant reminder that knowledge was alive, waiting for those brave enough to respect it. The box had opened at last, and with it, a new chapter of the galaxy had begun.